has been digging deep in their bag of strategies, bringing in things like a Nubarak and the Bloodlust Rhaegar. But although Team Freedom maybe felt like they didn't have the same kind of resilience they needed versus Tempo Storm last week, they're showing a lot of resilience here, going up 2-0 in our series.
Alex Straza on Infernal Shrines. Woo. North America Special. Now making her way over to several battlegrounds. But
I was gonna say, she's everywhere now.
She's everywhere now.
She has taken flight.
Those are some big wings because they are covering every battleground.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens with a dragon. They do have pretty big wings unless they're a baby. Volskaya, do we see another dragon here? The ultimate question.
Was it you that was telling me that Tomb of the Spider Queen is supposed to be below Sky Temple or something like that?
It is below Sky Temple. They're both part of the same universe.
Was that ever confirmed?
Yes, I think so.
Like, it blew my mind. Like, I've been playing this game for so long, and this was just like a month or two ago. I'm like, is it?
Jayhouse, that gif of the guy who's just blinking. Wait a second. Under? Did you say under Sky Temple?
I still, you know, every time I play the maps, I think about that now.
And Volskaya Foundry is right next door.
Okay, now you're just...
Yeah, no, it's not. Though in the Nexus, anything is possible. That's the beauty of the Nexus, right? You just hop in a portal, and next door you find yourself in...
I just think about Diablo
Volskaya
X.
Foundry land.
Like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, you start out in like a grassy forest area, you know, no big deal. Act 2, you just find yourself in the desert. Like in every game, it just seems natural. So Dragonshire has to be right next to Sky Temple.
Could be. Yeah.
Although you take a caravan and you go...
Sure.
You don't actually take the game.
It's not a portal, it's a caravan.
Well, I mean, it depends. You can take waypoints.
That's true. That's what we need, some waypoints. We already have the tunnel in Towers of Doom. Maybe we get that sometime. Tracer and Raynor receive bans on Volskaya Foundry. Been a lot of Tracer bans, but it's understandable that you would see LFM want to ban Tracer versus Lutano.
Is Hanamura like really far away from Volskaya?
Jayhow, we gotta come back to this off camera some other time.
I mean, that map's so far away, I haven't seen it in a while.
Well, maybe someday we'll loop back through the Nexus.
Urel for LFM after banning out the Blaze.
Oh, definitely.
That's got to be first pick priority. Is Team Freedom willing to let that through?
Sure.
Or is it Genji ban?
I think it's... Oh. Okay. My thought was here, if we did see a Genji ban let Urel through, you get Lutano's Hanzo, you get Lutano's Chromie, but now Genji up, Genji taken, Droplets loves that Genji.
So Phoenix, I feel, trades out well in a lot of situations against Genji. He's going to be first rotation priority for Team Freedom. I like that a lot. Diablo, the frontline control, not the Muradin, not the Johanna, but early Diablo. And since the changes, able to stack up souls quite a bit quicker in the earlier game, even on maps like Volskaya. But as we saw from Heroes Hearth yesterday, it was a very disciplined and slow approach with this style of comp.
Yeah, he is a sustain hero with his flame or his Firestomp build. And now you have the slows of Lightning Breath to set up for more damage from your Purification Salvo, but this does allow LFM to not only get Muradin, which looked a lot better in the last game than the Anubarak of Game 1, but now have Hanzo for the Scatter Arrow poke over control points, and the setup with Dragon's Arrow into whichever Genji, Swift Strike in, Dragon Strike, Dragon Blade, not Dragon Strike, that's Hanzo. You get the point. X Strike.
Malfurion being banned out, one of the best sustain heroes, which says to me that Team Freedom could be looking at Deckard. Because I don't think you want to give up Deckard to this style for LFM. You get the stun, you get the slows on the front line, you get a lot of control. But Thrall is going to be the ban.
What's Lutano going to play here? Is this another Chromie game? maybe Greymane or Li Ming. Oh.
I'd be cool with the Li Ming. Li Ming Phoenix do okay against Genji, and they can trade out well.
Yeah.
So Li Ming the pickup, Deckard after that mouth ban definitely makes sense. We could see another Rhaegar here for LFM. Does have better early game healing, more sustain. Ancestral for Genji seems much better than a Bloodlust.
If it's not that, I think it'll be another Alex. Point control. We just don't see Stukov anymore in the same way that we would before. Dahaka Alex. Swabs gets his Dahaka. Last pick for Team Freedom. Looking at a Nasmus hero. Anything jumping out at you besides your
Just
diva?
another Leo. Just another Leo.
Leo fits here pretty well.
Material.
Ooh. Holy Arena. Hellstorms.
I'm just going to stand here in a golden circle and breathe fire and lightning at people.
Yep.
That's old school.
Or you Judgment Alex Straza.
Yeah, I'm going to go with probably not. I mean, you shot down my diva dream.
What do you don't need sanctification. Phoenix has warp, Li Ming has teleport. You already have these things. Deckard Kana stay a while and listen. Let's get in there. Fine.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I know.
But it might happen. That's the joy of Heroes in Storm, because we don't know.
That's true. We also don't know where in relation to Dragonshire Volskaya Foundry is. And therein lies just so much beauty. What do you think about these comps? What do you think of the Tyrael? Because Tyrael has not had an easy time in North America. We're going to go into the game, so I'll keep that going as we head on in. We've got games to play as I'm asking you questions. What do you feel about this Tyrael?
Tyrael is going to suffer from a lot of what Tyrael suffers from is mana issues. And when you're on a control point, you have to be very disciplined with that. Using your Eldruins for mobility is great, but the minute you get an Eldruins rotation, a Smite rotation, you get the shielding going to save somebody else, all of a sudden you're like, well, why am I at half mana? And some of these long drawn-out fights in the early game, I think are going to be difficult just due to Diablo's lack of souls, Deckard having to prioritize a lot of heals, and Hanzo, as long as Hanzo is landing his scatter arrows, LFM does look good in the early game, especially with Dragon Queen a couple minutes later.
Well, a Sanctification is sort of an old school response to Genji. Both, it used to be a denial of having one form of invulnerability when you wanted to Dragon Blade, because nobody used to take X-Strike. And then also having the, I shouldn't say nobody, Melody C took X-Strike. But then also having the few seconds to get through that, if that tends to be the case. And the one place I feel we do still see Dragon Blade is in the instance when you have the Dragon's Arrow setup of the Shimada brothers together. So cool to see Team Freedom. I feel like it's always cool to see how flexible Nasmus has been on this solo lane role right from the beginning. He's put in a lot of work when he switched over to solo so that he could be flexible and bring in these kind of niche picks.
I am concerned in the later game team fights. For Team Freedom, this is a lot of their drafts that I would see previously. I think Volskaya makes it a bit more forgiving. But a Tyrael Diablo does have a Shadow Charge, and obviously his flip, Lightning Breath is very different. But it was these style of drafts where the secondary melee lacked a lot of crowd control, any way of stopping aggression from opponents. A Dahaka flank, a Genji and a Murd and dive. I don't know if we'll get Cleansing Flames. And the Dragon Arrow setup in the past was a weakness for Team Freedom. Not always a guaranteed win against them, just more difficult times.
I think that's fair. And maybe we see a Holy Ground as a way of trying to reconcile that from Nasmus at 13. But because it is Volskaya Foundry, it is a lot more about just sitting on a point and holding on the point and having the shielding from Tyrael with Justice for All, and then the very tanky health pool and the self-heal of Diablo, and then you put the shielding of Potion of Shielding and the healing behind that, and this is you can trade out on those warriors quite a lot on the control point, and it does feel like it's all about just holding on to the points.
Fury waving at Zugrug on his way by. Control point, 25 seconds away. Both teams already loaded up on their turrets. Nobody even going for the early heal camp. The camp's picked up. They have their eyes on Phoenix. Yoda still in mount position, allows him to avoid any potential gank, as we are seconds away from our first control point and seeing how these comps really play out in the long run.
Both teams have people on the points. Zugrug, for a second, leaves it as he was forcing back Fury, but with Droplet still, there is a tiny channel difference. I wonder if this is going to play out the same way Volskaya did yesterday between Tempo and Heroes Hearth, because that was such a change from where Volskaya used to be. And a lot of that comes down to the tower changes, but being willing to give up so readily so many of the protectors by both teams in favor of having a full 5-man defense was such a difference. It was frankly quite weird to watch that game unfold.
The most unique Volskaya game as Scatter Arrow rips apart Lutano.
Wow.
But a nice flip over. Droplets forced to swift strike out of there. Team Freedom did an incredible job of holding that point because they had to send Phoenix to deal with that camp that was at the top. They sent Phoenix to deal with that camp and held the entire point with Zugrug just holding that corner and Collusion just feeding him potions over and over. And now that's given 7 over to Team Freedom first. The LFM, they're trying to pick that up, and they do.
It is not without its cost. Collusion took a hit out of his mana bar and needed to go use a tap, as did Lutano with that poke. But holding on to the point, continuing to climb in percentage-wise as they hit 60%. Is Team Freedom. LFM will look to be able to push in for a fight now that they have 7, force off Team Freedom, but they'll have to get a fight and then be able to hold for a long time in hopes of getting this Triglav Protector.
Well, Nasmus being very aggressive going in. Swabs already came in with the Brush Knocker. Both turrets down. The Dragon Queen is out.
Immediate Team Freedom recognition on that, and they leave.
Oh. Yoda dipped out right before Droplets made his entrance there with a swift strike.
That was so concerted that Team Freedom was saying, the second she goes into Dragon, we walk,
just
leave, we go. We don't have things like Sanctification yet. We just have to let it go. We have such a lead here. That was very well done by Team Freedom.
I don't think we see too much of this. That's actually a nice drag in the middle of the enemies. Shadow charge out. Fury lands a Storm Bolt. Some damage comes in. But the Scatter Arrow at 4, not something we traditionally see on this battleground, and not much of, period, as of late. As there's going to be the dive in. Their target is Figgy. The healing reduction, he's having to dip out. Fury, he's having to dip out as well. Yoda trading out, trying to get the kill. Swabs and team holding on, but they're relinquishing control over to Freedom. See if LFM can get back in here to contest this, or whether they even want to.
Well, Fury is going to let Swabs tank some of the damage, but Zugrug's there for the combo. Dahaka goes down, and that surely claims that Triglav Protector. Shoutouts to not only Zugrug for the start of that fight, but Lutano to have the follow-up closely following that, so that he hit nearly a full combo, if not a full combo. And with that Arsenal synergy, wow! Yeah, that is a spray deserving play, Yoda. That's why you do see Phoenix work versus Genji. A lot of that is that Arsenal synergy.
Trade out so well. That is enough to allow this Protector to move forward, take down not just the wall and the well, but now has its eyes set on this fort. 10-tier advantage. LFM scrambling here in this early part of the game with Team Freedom just 2 kills ahead, has done enough to take down 2 fort walls. And hopefully, inevitably on their side, the fort that's starting to finally dwindle away.
Yeah, they have people coming up. Zugrug being in a flank position so that nobody can flank around, but without heroic abilities, LFM has 0 interest in doing that. It's way more about trying to get back to heroic abilities and then find a fight from there. The thing is, it's Full Sky Foundry. They may not be able to find that fight with Team Freedom just playing keep away with the experience that LFM would get from those kills.
That next fight will be at 13. Zagrugan team wants to find it. There's a stun coming out from Fury. Will be Sanctification. No judgment. Sorry, Gilly.
That's all right. I had a feeling. Flank salvo. Dragon's Arrow hits. Collusion has an isolation on him from Swabs. Prevented him from throwing out some of his potions for a little bit. There's still Sanctification, and they will use it on this point. Zagr's going to dive off. Fury is falling very low. But Aware's here for the healing. LFM hanging in, but Droplets almost dead. Fury almost dead. Figgy almost dead. Figgy dead. And now LFM has to relinquish the point.
Swab the next to follow. Team Freedom again taking these clutch team fights. Lutano trying to see if he can get more out of that. Does hit the Wave of Force, but the stun in return by Fury is going to neutralize any bit more that could have come in there. And Team Freedom starting to take control the way that we see in game number 1. And with those deaths, that is a denial in experience, in soaking on the side of LFM. I think 13 is going to be a far cry by the time the next control point shows up.
Just want to highlight, that is a fight Freedom didn't have to take. A fight that perhaps other earlier versions of Freedom wouldn't have taken, but they know that they have things like Sanctification and the Lightning Breath for a lot of zone control, not to mention Deckard Cain himself. He's walking zone control for a support. And they knew that they had a good composition for that they are the stronger team, and that they are proving it by walking in there and being willing to take that fight. And with that, they press their advantage harder. They win the fight, they take out another fort from LFM losing people. And this is just so many welcome things to see from Team Freedom in this match.
There's another stun, a flip. Fury forced to pop Avatar. Lutano following up perfectly. Salvo. But Lutano comes in before it can go off, and Lutano's like, look, if I'm getting one, I'm getting another. And comes in with a double. Lutano popping off here.
A swift double kill furthers that lead that Team Freedom has acquired. And it's only going to get worse for LFM as they continue to weather the storm in this game 3. Team Freedom will go back at the assault camp and prepare to turn their focus on that top control point. LFM, like many teams are wont to do, is going to push down in the bottom to get some of that comeback experience, the trade push. We'll see if Freedom wants to devote more than just the Nasmus here to defend this. They have a tri-lane in mid, and they will start to come down here to force back LFM.
Here they come. Yoda going to Danium Shell at level 13 for the second game in a row. Does give him that armor. Nasmus with the CC. There was a lot of follow-up. Not enough to get the takedown, which would have been really good for LFM at this stage of the game.
No Diablo. Freedom playing this very patiently. All they want to do is stop LFM from being able to get experience freely and take down that fort in the bottom, because they know the next control point is going to be there. Freedom have such a lead over LFM here in Volskaya. 64%, still no 13 for LFM. They're going to start the rotation up with a lot of their members trying to clear out that camp, push back this lane as best they can for the defense, but it's going to be a tough one for them in this game, I feel, J-Hal.
Will Team Freedom push down the top lane? Just capitalize on the experience advantage, get the keep down, get
Swabs
control.
Is in the bottom, getting ganked. Made it out with a stock, so he'll survive. And
no, there's nothing there to stop him. That's where Tyrael, no CC. But the focus will be in the bot lane. And they're just setting up, prepping for the next control point, setting up a win condition.
They could do a lot here. They're almost 16.
Oh my.
Fury needs to be cautious. Avatars. Salvo. He's gone for 30 seconds now. LFM want to put some damage on this Protector with that kill with these structures. Team Freedom are 16, have 35 more seconds with a very healthy Triglog Protector as they are barreling down this bottom lane, blowing up Alex Straza, blasted to smithereens, taking out the keep towers. I think they're going to look at a keep here.
Things going from bad to worse. Team Freedom is putting it on LFM here. 3-level lead, keep falling 12.5 minutes in, and this is the next control point lane. And that is where a lot of games are ended after the 3rd control point in that bot lane, and the prep is normally done a little bit differently, but this time it's done early. So Team Freedom trying to get a clean 3-0 today.
Tough decisions for LFM, a long way from 16. But they just may have to take a fight anyway and start to get aggressive, look for something, because they quite simply cannot deal with another Triglav Protector with that keep down. The best news is, because the next control point is in the bottom lane, there will be catapults, but you can bet if Team Freedom wins another fight, they're just going to keep right on in that bottom lane. They're ready to take that fight with that 16 advantage.
Here we go, Zugrug on the point. Lifebinder already out. Lightning Breath hitting multiple targets. Fury the first to fall. Again, Swab's the second. He won't be the last, as Hanzo was the third. They've got their eyes on a giant dragon as Lutano comes in to help confirm another kill. And we are looking at 3.5, 4 levels now for Team Freedom, just exerting their dominance on Volsky.
That was a phenomenal stay a while and listen, because the Purification salvo was out, but people were starting to retreat from LFM. Collusion just sets it down so that it keeps them in position long enough so that not only do they take the damage, but they take the damage in such a way that Team Freedom can get on the targets after the fact and use that damage to give kills. A lot of times we see Purification salvo, it'll go out, it'll deal damage, and yes, it forces a team back, but here it equaled out more kills for Freedom, which lets them get a secondary keep. Every time they win a team fight, Team Freedom gets maximum amounts of structure down. This is what we talk about when we say pressing advantages.
There's always a silver lining in games because there's always comeback potential. But boy, is it dim in this game for LFM. They just lost their 2nd keep. 20 will be here for Team Freedom by the time the next control point comes in. It's going to take a miracle for LFM in a team fight to get back into this. Sometimes all it takes is 1 kill, though, to get you on even talent tiers, to get the momentum going, to try and snowball into a 2nd kill and a 3rd kill. Team Freedom is feeling so good about themselves that they are just walking directly into lanes, taking experience, and understanding that there's nothing that LFM can do about it.
When you say it's their game to lose, this is a case-in-point example of that for Team Freedom. Long range charge from Zugrug there. This is it. This is it for LFM. The fight is there. No 20. No, yeah, he did a 20. He had
just at the last moment, Gilly, the unconquered spirit comes in, and Team Freedom are turning this fight around. They are lucky that 20 picked.
I didn't think he had it, but he got that and prioritized picking that up above all else. The shielding there, the follow-up, the masterful bait from Yoda on that Phoenix.
Yes.
That's what we're going to call it.
Clearly that's what that was.
Whatever it was, Team Freedom clear out LFM in this game, in this series, 3-0.
17 kills to 0. That's not a number you see often for those folks at home. Team Freedom. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that.
There's not much to say after that. I knew you were going to say that, and I was already ready. There's just not much.
But would you be disappointed if I said that I still want more from Team Freedom?
I'm sure you have an explanation behind that.
It's long, though.
Well, you know what? We're waiting for an interview, and sometimes that goes long. So go ahead. Lay it all out.
Well, first off, you can't step that far forward out. We can call it a bait, but that is, you got away with one.
I said it was masterful.
It was masterful, but it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. They took the fight. They took a couple of fights throughout this series that I feel are completely avoidable. They come out with so much aggression, and they get leads, And then they give small little windows against better teams. If you do that, not that LFM's a bad team, but there are teams that can punish you harder
For sure.
for those. And whether it's just a matter of Team Freedom saying, you know what, we're doing so well, it doesn't matter if we do this. That's not good practice. You are practicing for future games in every game that you play. And if you just say, oh, we're going to do this a little different, you know, it's whatever. I don't think that's good mentality. And I got a feeling that's not the mentality. That is, this is our decision making. And there are small windows that if you do this against other teams, you will be punished. And when you get to an international stage, you can't get away from it. How can you seriously criticize Team Freedom after they just 17-0 4-leveled on Volskaya? I don't know. But it looks different than some other teams that I've seen.
Sure. I agree. And I knew you were going to bring that up. And I do feel like there were several times where LFM knew that this was the fight we have to take to get back in the game, and LFM was there. We saw it over camps, even the support camp. The only thing I will say in defense of that particular thing for Team Freedom is that if this is a team that has been so opposite that mentality for so long, that maybe this is the only way that they rectify it, is going too far the other way, and then we baby bear the situation, right? So we've got too passive, maybe too aggressive. Yeah, right in the middle.
Here's the difference.
All right.
Right. So when you watch other teams, it's, again, really hard to put into context. But the difference between opening a window and allowing somebody in versus finding a window and taking that. You go to Korea and you see teams take these 3-4 level leads. They go and they are the aggressors. They initiate. They force you to respond. And by that time, you already have the talent tier advantage. You already have the level advantage with the extra, all the 4% going all the way up. It gives you the chance to initiate, and you continue to exert your dominance. Responding and giving a window for somebody to come back, that's more playing, okay, we're in position, we can hold our ground, we can fight on defensive terms. That is the difference between some of the other teams and the way that this played out in a couple times in this series.
That's fair. And we know that they have to play Octalysis next week, so that's going to be one tough series, one tough final series for them. But for now, Team Freedom have a 3-0. Lutano, congratulations on that 3-0. How do you guys come in? You know, I talked to Nasmus before this weekend in Tempo Storm match that was very tough. So what did you do after that to come in and show this dominance here today?
Tempo, we got really outdrafted, like games 2 and 3. I don't know what happened there. We just choked. Honestly, it was pretty bad. But I think we just cleaned up our draft. It's been a really hectic week for this week because everything has changed. Literally, the entire game has changed with these drafting changes. So that's mainly what we focused on, and it paid off.
Well, we did see a lot of that draft work even in your match versus Endemic, so it's awesome to see you guys continue to approach it and approach that for this weekend. How have you guys been feeling about the third ban? Is there anything that has surprised you, or do you feel like you had a very good beat on it coming into this weekend?
I think we had a bit of trouble the first day or two. We were trying to figure out the meta, but we had a lot of scrims with really strong teams. It was all like top 4 teams this week for our scrims, and we really figured it out well, and I think it worked out.
Well, teams keep trying to use Bloodlust versus you guys, and so far you guys have been able to make it through. What do you think about that? Like, do you see a place for it in the meta, or do you guys feel like it's just not there? Obviously, I don't want you to have to feel like you have to give away any strategies, but I am interested to hear your thoughts on it.
I don't really understand the Bloodlust picks. They keep trying to, like, the whole point of Bloodlust is to end fights fast and early, and every time they pick it, the fights never go their way. I don't know if that's because of the Bloodlust or because of a lack of execution with the Bloodlust, but the Ancestral is just easier to execute, in my opinion. So it hasn't been really effective, and we're not really worried about any team picking it against us.
Well, that 3-0 is very important for you guys and your continued quest for the Western Clash, so congratulations. I will be talking to you again pretty shortly, but for now, Jayhow, questions for Lutano?
Lutano, it's clear to me that you guys have addressed some of those drafts, and you guys' drafts this weekend looked really good. But I also want to take the mindset of draft number 1, where you guys were ultra aggressive with that Murd in play, the fog play that we saw a lot of with Zugrug, is that also something you're working on? We've seen you guys with all-in compositions before. This is more well-rounded with trying to perform the same way. Has that been a focus as well?
Yeah, Ardeshire was actually like one of our weakest maps for a long time, and we used to ban it in the older parts and phases. And we just like hunkered down for like 3 weeks. We're playing a map of Dragonshire every day, every scrim block, and we just worked really hard on it, and it paid off. And how we're abusing vision on that map is, I think it's the strongest way to play the map, and that we kind of figured that out after playing it for days and days. So yeah, it worked out.
Well, it's similar to what we saw at international stages. There's a lot of fog manipulation. Bad Benny does it very well. He's learned a lot from his time now moving back to the main tank role. But in Korea, they do it as well. Do you guys look at other regions to find some of these ways to use the strategies, or is it just a matter of figuring out what works best for you, since you guys at times do drafts a little bit differently?
Yeah, funny story. That was actually the main way that we improved Ardeshire. Is we went back and rewatched the grand final between Genji and Dignitas, and we're like, what did each of these teams do at each part of the game, and how are they abusing their team compositions? What were they trying to accomplish? And that's a big way that we improved it.
By watching Korea dive forts and kill everybody?
Correct.
Well, look, man, I got to compliment you guys again. I've been critical of your drafts at times. I said it at the start of this, but all 3 games looked phenomenal for you guys, and it's really coming together for you. And obviously, Western Clash still in sights for you guys, and a big matchup next week, but congrats on the victory today.
Thank you so much.
All right, Lutano, you guys have a very big match to close out part 1. It's versus Octalysis. Can you give me your thoughts on how you feel like that one's going to go and what's going to be important for you guys to work on going into it?
We have quite a few strategies planned for that.
Okay.
There's a lot of draft changes that have evolved from this, and I don't think they're going to know what hit them, and I think we're going to 3-0 them.
Ooh.
So.
All right. Well, of course, we know that you guys had a lot of hype behind you at the last Western Clash, and I know that you guys are eager to get back to the next Western Clash and prove exactly why that was. So good luck to you guys in that match. Congrats again, and the floor is now yours for shoutouts.
Shoutouts to my team. Shoutouts to Levies, our coach, Team Freedom, our sponsor. Shoutouts to Twitch chat. You guys are the best. Shout out to Hero League, and that's it.
All right, thanks for joining us, Lutano. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Octalysis is not going to know what hit him.
Ooh, ominous.
That I've never heard Team Freedom ever just bold. Look, that's probably soft compared to some of the stuff we've heard from certain people. But Team Freedom is not the outspoken, we're coming to get you team. Lutano.
When you play that well and you get that dominant of a 3-0, you 17-0, 4-level lead in the last game, I think it's warranted. Checking in with the standings now after the fact. We're gonna dive deep into the standings because things continue to get just a little more convoluted. This is updated post that last match. Team Freedom versus LFM now has a leg up over Endemic and Octalysis sitting at 4-2. It is entirely possible that we end this part with Freedom, Endemic, and Octalysis all sitting at 4-2. What happens is Octalysis beats Freedom, and Endemic, they have to beat Tempo Storm. That's going to be the tough one.
The tie there is so scary. Octalysis, if they take down Team Freedom next weekend, it's a matter of wins, losses. The tiebreaker, Endemic, has to go up against Tempo, which I would say is not a guarantee to go either way. And so there is so much for next week for that 3, 4, 5 spot. It is wild, the possibilities that will come out from next weekend.
Right. Freedom has, things are a lot better for them because they 3-0'd and they got that win there. Even if they lose to Octalysis, they can rely on Tempo Storm to hopefully get that one over Endemic. I would say that Tempo Storm's a favored match, but I don't know if that's the case. That is, we could also see how tiebreakers go down. I don't know what it was there. But how we determine...
There better be a whole train of XDs in chat right now.
Yeah. But it's going to come down to the wire. That's the best way to say it. There are very important matches lined up next weekend.
Just the fact that it's the plus minus before that tiebreaker makes every game so important. That to me, just the amount of pressure there alone. Gosh dang, I'm glad I'm on this side of the thing, and they're the ones playing. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot on team shoulders going into next week.
Well, we've talked a lot about Western Clash qualification and then top 4 or 5 teams in NA, but for the next match, we're going to be talking about even further things like avoiding the Crucible and being in a position for playoffs for the HGC finals at BlizzCon, because in the next match, the last match of the weekend, it'll be Simplicity taking on No Tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back more with Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, Jaina gets the boot. Zugrug, he's very aggressive. Droplets. He's going to get taken down on that Greymane. Scatter arrow obliterates Swab's health bar. He's going to be the next to fall.
Dragon Knight phase starts up, and LFM are a far cry away from 13, but they're not willing to give up the aggression. Yoda heads up and making sure that he warps out from that burrow charge. And unfortunately for LFM, they lose Droplets. Now Figgy is going to be the next one to fall. The slow, the salvo, everything there. Team Freedom fire back in.
Aware, very far forward. He's going to be the target. There's no way Deckard makes it out of here alive. Bring a Frost in return. They try and get the blow up. Unconquered Spirit, though, has been procced. Yoda's able to warp away. Does also get armor off of that isolation hit. But there's too much damage coming out in return as Team Freedom staying extremely healthy.
Collusion gets the charge in. He may have Palm, but to defend it so that they can overall else keep alive a lot of these, or keep the structures alive here, especially the fort, but also the well. And Jaina, that time, the jump in and the pincer attack of LFM pays off with not 1 kill, but 2.
He's stuck. The mosh pit's going to lock down 1 while the action is on this Warden's Cage on the left here.
And the Bloodlust too. The cleanse from the Aware saved Swabs' life. The Life Binder and a power slide. Maiev killed by Zugrug. The rest of the team now on the core with no Maiev left. A lot of the damage gone for LFM. These structures. Team Freedom are 16, have 35 more seconds with a very healthy Triglog Protector as they are barreling down this bottom lane, blowing up Alex Straza, blasted to smithereens. Right on in that bottom lane. They're ready to take that fight with that 16 advantage.
Here we go, Zugrug on the point. Lifebinder already out. Lightning Breath hitting multiple targets. Fury the first to fall. Again, Swab's the second. He won't be the last as Hanzo was the third. They've got their eyes on a giant dragon as Lutano comes in to help confirm another kill.
This is it for LFM. The fight is there. No 20. No, yeah, he did have 20. He had
just at the last moment, Gilly, the Unconquered Spirit comes in and Team Freedom are turning this fight around. They are lucky